broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Get it. Oh, yeah.
It's not the best of both worlds, though.
It's like the worst.
The worst of both worlds.
Of all the worlds in the galaxy.
Maybe stuck in between or
Yeah,
something?
I don't know.
Enjoy your one world.
Yeah, I know. It's going to go down. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We are in the 4th season. This is the after show for Catfish. I am your host, Lem Gonsalves. Before we get into this, we want to make sure that you subscribe to us on youtube.com/AFTERBUZZ TV. And also check us out on YouTube and SoundCloud. And make sure, because we are doing the show live, so you can live tweet us and use the hashtag ABTV Catfish. Again, I'm your host, Lem Gonsalves, and you can find me on social media at The Poet Saint, and that's on Twitter and Instagram. Next to me, I got my boy, Nicholas Grava. What's up, man? Where can they find you, sir?
What's going on? You guys can find me at Nicholas Grava on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. I'm there. Yeah.
And of course, my boy Jeff Thurm with me last week, holding it down. Back again.
Well, it's good to be back.
Yeah.
Like a bit of a crazy episode tonight.
Sure.
Hit me up at Jeff_Thurm, Twitter, Instagram. I say this every week, but tweet at us. We want to know your comments. Leave comments on the YouTube pages. Interact with us. We love hearing from you.
All of that. And at the end, we got my boy Jimmy V. Bear. What's up, man?
What's going on, team? What's up?
What's up?
You guys can find me at Be Your Own Dad on Twitter and Instagram. Please hit us up. We want to hear from you. We got to hear from you.
We have to hear from you.
Let's go.
So let's get into this episode.
Let's do it.
I want to say, just go on record, that this was probably one of the most strangest catfish of all 4 seasons. The strangest catfish I've seen. I don't know. Do you guys agree, disagree? What's up?
I want to sub out the word strangest and say my favorite. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode.
Okay. Tell us why.
I'm gonna tell you, because here's the thing. So I sort of dropped off the catfish boat after the beginning, couple seasons.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
By the way.
Oh, okay, all right. And now I started last week. I watched. I'm like, okay, great. 2015. People aren't catching on by this yet.
Sure.
Tell me about it.
This episode, I'm like, okay, this is something that I could see happening to any one of us, me included.
Absolutely.
And I could see emailing being like, I need some help.
Right.
So this was real to me. Not
I agree.
the other ones I kind of question, like, you haven't seen someone in 4 years and you're talking their love of your life, like,
And you love them.
questionable.
And you want to be with them forever. And
Exactly.
You know what they look like. Gotcha.
Exactly. Oh, their camera's jacked up. Okay, I don't want to hear that again.
Right. You can't use that so much.
Yeah.
So we'll start off, and we're dealing with a girl by the name of Falesha, really nice girl.
Yep.
She's the one that emailed in, and she basically talks about someone assuming her identity, which you were just saying, Nicholas, which can happen to any of us.
Yeah, the copycat.
Exactly. She was assuming her identity, and with a fake profile, but not only was she doing that, she was bullying people and saying really hurtful and meanful things.
She was
to people.
straight up terrorizing people.
Yeah.
I mean, she was telling people to kill themselves. She was telling people that they were fat. Like, straight up, like, some of the meanest comments I've ever seen. And yeah, it's awful.
And I think when we talk about mean comments, when you tell someone to kill yourself, that's way above.
That's
and
like
beyond. You know what I'm
stage
saying?
10. That's like, come on now.
Yeah, it's like, and we know about cyberbullying, and I think that bullying, and MTV does a really good, they talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
They give, responses about it a lot. Even in this show, twice, there was on 2 different occasions, they gave hotline numbers that you can reach out, which I think is great.
Oh, yeah.
But for somebody doing that, you know that there's something deep, dark inside of them that's causing them to be this way.
Right, and that's the thing that I really did. I don't know, tell me if you guys agree. I liked about this episode was because obviously cyberbullying is huge. It's happening to almost every young kid out there, or old, anyone out there.
Sure.
And seeing this side of her, to see, okay, why is Tracy doing what she does? Who is the girl behind it? And we start to see that it's less about the individual and more about the person that's doing it, not who she's bullying. And I think a lot of kids can take a lot away from that.
Right,
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And it's so easy to take offense because if a stranger, whoever's telling you to kill yourself, you automatically take that on yourself.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter who's saying it, you're taking it on. I mean, these people, one of the girls that they called, she was like, I was just friend hungry or friend thirsty. I just accepted
I wrote that
everyone.
down. Friend thirsty.
And it's just like, it's so true. I remember when Facebook,
Been there, done that.
in MySpace, I was friends with anyone that could be my friend.
Yep.
Half of the people that like had the same pictures, like I knew it was fake, but I was just like, I just need the numbers. Yeah. And then Facebook comes around and you just need the numbers. And especially in high school, like people move around and there's so many people that like, you might know or you have like one mutual friend with. It's like, okay, yes, I'll accept that person.
Sure.
And then they tell you to kill yourself. I mean, high school, like they said, is already a hard enough time. There's already bullying happening in the school, not to mention people hiding behind their computers. I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
And we know that, we've all been to high school. We know that high school's a rough time. It's big on popularity. It's big on acceptance.
True.
And people, wanting to have a lot of friends. And this girl, Falesha, really went through it because this girl first started off using the tag Jacqueline Linkwood.
Yep.
And then, started terrorizing people. But then she assumed her actual name. And then that's when it really got bad for her because people really thought it was her saying this. And she said she was walking through the halls. And I thought it was really good that they showed, two of her friends when they went and talked to her. And the one friend really started getting choked up because she's like, I remember people saying these things and being mean to her and how she went to the bathroom, Falesha did, and ended up was crying and all of these things going on. And it's like hard enough to be a high school student and be accepted and kind of, even if you're different, being teased or anything like that. But to go through this and it's not even anything you did.
I think that's one of the main problems. And in high school, I don't know about your high schools, mine was like this, where everyone functioned off of where there's smoke, there's fire. So if there's a rumor going around, even if they didn't think 100%, they thought something was happening. So this girl, Falesha, is with this Twitter account that's bullying people. You can't tell me parents weren't saying to their kids things. You walk away being like, who would do? You don't even think that someone else would do it. So I feel you automatically directed at her. That's tough.
And she is like the nicest girl I've ever seen. She's so sweet. She's so down to earth. Even when she's like confronting with the person that terrorized her life, she's like, am I supposed to say sorry? Like, I kind of feel bad. And then she was coming up with like more words of wisdom than even like Nev and Max were when they were talking. I was like, this girl is like so legit. Like, poor girl.
So at the beginning, did any of y'all think that she could be behind it, or there was any sketchy thing happening? Like, I don't know.
I was scared when one of her friends was crying and the other friend was just kind of sitting there quiet. That's her friend.
That's right.
Yeah, I was like, no, please don't be. Don't be Jacqueline.
Yeah,
well, we've seen that before in previous episodes where friends in their corner, it's part of their group, have been the catfish person on multiple occasions. So I didn't really think that. I did think that it was another person. And let's talk about how that found out, because I think it was really interesting. Nev, typically, he always does his research. It's the same thing every season. He does his research and finds out. He actually talks to a girl named Jennifer.
Yep. Oh, I love
Jennifer. Who was
Good job, Jennifer.
Who was a victim and actually did she was like, got Columbo on her and assumed a fake male profile and then got her to trust her, got her profile sign on, and basically got her into her account and found out that it was a girl named Tracy.
And just thinking back on this now, this Barbie girl, or like whatever, what's her name? Tracy Barbie
That's right.
is sitting at home being this fake bitch to other people. Then this super hot guy starts talking. It's like, I want to be in a relationship with you. She's like, okay, I'll do whatever you want. Like, you can, like, best of both worlds, like right there, like. Play the role. Exactly. I can't believe she gave her password up that easily.
I was shocked by that too.
I think, and it just goes to show how she was, again, as we find out a little later where she was in her life, she was just so thirsty for attention. She even said herself, like, I live my life and then I go home and I can be this other person, and no one has to worry about who I am, and I don't have to worry, I can just be mean to people and I can just do whatever I want. It's almost like assuming a fake identity, like a superhero almost. You know, superhero, they have this, identity where no one knows who they are, and then they go and fight crime. It's just making crime. It's the opposite. It's like being a fake villain almost. You know what I mean? So Nev, of course, talks to her, and he gets the number because she put it on the profile, and he calls her.
She made it fairly easy.
She
gave the password. She has this. She's like, I'm deleting my account, but call me if you want to talk. Like,
exactly.
I'm sorry.
Who does that? Like, come on.
Somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. Like, realistically, to me, again, that just showed where she was. She was not. You see people, and some people can get very elaborate in their catfishing. It's hard to get a hold of them. They have to go through like multiple kind of streams of information to find out who these people are. And then when they find them, they're very reluctant. You know what I'm saying?
And sometimes it's not even who they thought it was going to be.
Exactly.
Like when they found this Tracy Barbie girl so easily, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to find out who it really is, because it's not going to be her.
It's not going to be her.
I was like, they did that too easy.
It was just too
Where's
easy.
the twist?
Yeah. No, so Nev calls her, and he's like, hey, is this, Jennifer? And she's like, yeah, ha, ha, and she's laughing the whole time.
Creepy as
oh my God.
So fucking scary.
Can we talk about
how
that?
weird was that? I kind of felt uncomfortable.
I did
very
too.
uncomfortable. I was very uncomfortable because the whole thing is you're doing these heinous things, and even when they go, I don't want to jump the gun, but even when they go and talk to her, and you think like, okay, they're sitting down with her, it's different on the phone, and she's still the exact same way she was on the phone.
I wanted to, in a polite way, shake her to like get through to be like, what? I honestly gave up at some point with her. Just as they were before they went back the second time when they were talking in the room, I was like, she's crazy. She wants attention. You're just feeding into it. I'm like, walk away now. Wash your hands of it. Like, you're not going to get through to her.
Right.
I guess that's rude because I gave up too soon because they kind of did. I don't know though. But.
Well, I mean, when they went to go, she gives them the address. She says, "Come by. Is it okay if we bring Falesha?" She's like, "Yeah, okay, as long as she doesn't beat me up." You know what I'm saying? Like, she's still she's not getting it yet.
And she says, I hate Falesha. Falesha stole all of Jacqueline's friends. What the
That
fuck?
just shows.
What? Sorry for censorship, but what the actual fuck?
Yeah.
That just shows where when I heard that, I'm like, this girl's not okay. Like,
She's not.
No.
She's
no.
like, I was like, she's crazy.
No, she is. And it's funny too because when they were talking with her, they did give up at some point because they were like, we're not getting to her.
Yeah.
But there was, I think it was Max that asked her if she took drugs.
Are you on drugs?
Like, do you take drugs? Because for her to act the way she was, no remorse for what she was doing, it seemed like she was on another planet. It seemed like she just had no touch with reality.
Right.
That's what I got from her. Like, she was living this fantasy life in this fantasy world where everything is bubbles, and she's a Miley Cyrus fan.
No,
Hey,
she thinks
hey,
she thinks
hey,
she is.
hey.
I ain't about to get in that debate with you right now.
I'm just saying. Okay, let me rephrase. She's a Miley Cyrus / Hannah Montana.
Hannah
fan.
Montana.
Wannabe,
Okay.
not fan, wannabe.
Right.
There's a difference.
She thinks this is
You
a
can be
real
a fan.
person.
I like Party in the USA, but I'm not trying to terrorize people out there.
Right.
You go home, you have another identity like that too. I mean,
Yes.
this is just baffling to me when she said, "Well, I want to wait." It's fun being Jacqueline. Like I'm different. Like I'm a different person when I'm her.
Right.
That's not even someone being like, "Oh yeah, I pretend to be." She thinks she's that person. She's like, "Oh, it makes me feel empowered because I was bullied, so I'm bullying them back."
Like at some point, I thought she was Hannah Montana herself. Like she was a whole different person.
She was like a fake Disney character. But there is a lot of, like, to get real for a second, there is a lot of truth in people who get bullied want to bully other people because they want to get their revenge.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yes.
it's crazy how your mind works like that, like psychologically, to need to seek out making other people feel smaller when you're feeling really small. So it really is sad that she like had to go that route.
I think that's a good point. Sorry to interrupt. That is a really good point. I didn't think of that, but yeah, the whole misery loves company, and that bullies are going. They end up being bullied makes people into bullies. That's really true, and we see it here. Yeah.
Well, there's an age-old saying that I really like is hurt people hurt people. And it's very true. If you are
Totally
hurt,
true.
you are going to hurt someone else.
Yep.
And I think with her and what she was going through, and we'll just talk about it. There was a point when they kind of gave up in the sense like, we're not getting to her today. We're going to try again later. We're going to leave at this point. And then they come up with this idea. I don't know if it was the producers or Max or however they came up with it. They said, let's involve her mom.
Thank God.
Let's get her mom. Let's find out because there's something else there. So the mom, they go the next day. The mom is there. And then we find out after they've talked to the mom that her father had the stroke and basically has never been the same. And she started doing these type of things, bullying and assuming these fake identities right at the time her father had the stroke.
Well, the mom said when she was younger and she would like misbehave, he would do whatever a man needed to do to get her to behave. So she was clearly, beaten, spanked.
There
could be
was
a lot
some
to
type
interpret out
of
there.
discipline.
Yeah.
And it's
Disciplined, perfect word.
And it's like once the father was in that situation, she's like a dog off the leash now, just running around. So that's clearly was the effect of it.
I mean, look, like I don't know when they said that, I was like, at first I was like, oh, we need her dad in here, and then to like get her straight to make sure, and it's like you don't want that sort of a person around, an abusive person, abusive adult, whatever, but there needs to be some sort of discipline structure with this girl, and I was worried her mother was sort of like on her side when we first walked in with her, because she was like, oh, my mom knows about it, she knows what I do, and I'm like, what if my mother knew what I mean? I would. No.
Right.
Well,
that wouldn't happen.
When we were watching, you were saying something interesting about your upbringing.
Yeah. I come from a Caribbean background, so oftentimes the parents, they're always hard working and such, so they don't pay all that much attention to what the teen is actually doing. So, which I found very interesting when the mom first found out what she was doing. She was like, no, that's not right. And obviously the daughter felt like she should have been on her side, because the whole time she thought she was doing things normally fine, and it's clearly not.
Right.
Her
But
mom,
she knew about the profile.
she knew about Jacqueline, but she didn't know what Jacqueline was doing.
She didn't know the extent of it.
Right.
She didn't know. I mean, it's clear to say she didn't know the extent of it. And I think it's good, like you were saying, about not really knowing, because she was oblivious. And I think she was able to carry on. And then there was one instance where she said she didn't like her mom. So
she said it a few times.
She said I don't like her. And so you could tell that she's basically doing her own thing, whatever it is behind her back. But the bottom line is she's coming from this place where she's not happy. And she feels because she's not happy in her own skin, she has to do these other things to get attention, because she's not getting the attention that she wants at home.
It's interesting to see when we see that. I think it's a common thing I always see in life, reality shows, whatever it is. People have a reason from where they're coming from. You know what I mean? And it doesn't justify the actions whatsoever. But like, I know you're on the real world panel, and I always see it with them. It's like, if someone comes off as an asshole or someone comes off whatever, they always have some sort of reason behind it. And I was really praying that we could get to her reason. 'Cause when she was manic, and even you holding her camera that they left her in the bathroom, being like, this is so cool. Yeah, I'm like, we're never going to get
the best birthday of my life.
Yeah,
come on.
Like, tapped in the head. I'm like, we're never going to get to her reason. But I was so happy that we did with her mother.
And I found it real interesting that she said, I have high self-esteem. Would a person with a high self-esteem create a fake profile?
Well, I think, and that's his character too, because she said there was one thing she kept repeating, and I think it was something about like, this is how I am all the time, or something of that nature. Yeah. And Max is like, well, if you have to keep saying it, it's probably not
That's
it.
right.
And that's a clear example. It's like if you have money, like you don't have to flaunt it if you have money, but it's people that don't really have
overcompensating.
They overcompensate. And with her, with the giggling, with the laughing, with everything that she was doing, it's like overcompensating what's in here.
Exactly.
And I like how they really got, and they told her, there was like, you could go to jail. Like and I think once they said that and that settled in with her, then she really was like, oh, really? I could go to jail?
I was surprised. Were you surprised that when they first brought up, when they were like, okay, if someone kills themselves, and she's like, what do you want me to cry?
She was, I wouldn't cry.
Like,
I'm surprised that it was jail that scared her, when it's like, no, we're talking about someone and that, I guess, just shows she's not even functioning from a place to absorb that information at the time.
Because killing someone isn't on her hands. If it's someone she doesn't know, it doesn't matter. But if she has to suffer jail or not working with kids, I wouldn't cry if someone killed themselves. It wouldn't be my fault.
Right.
And then it was interesting because she was like, oh my God, I could go to jail. And then later she was like, I did think about it once or twice that I could get arrested. So... Yeah, uncovering these layers.
That's actually really interesting you said that, because basically that shows where like her front is that they're not, when she's acting like she's not even realizing her other thoughts, and then when she settles in, she's like, oh yeah, I have had that thought.
Right.
Because
she's
the same thing happened when she was like, I used to be bullied, like I used to get made fun of all the time, but I have a really high self-esteem. It's like, no.
Well, and I think too, if you look at when she started, and I said this before, but when she made the fake profile, when she would come home, she said, I would assume that identity. So it's like when she assumes that identity, she doesn't think about those things because she's not acting within herself. So if any repercussions happen, if someone was to die or injure themselves or drop out of school, like one guy had to do, some guy, she was, fake dating. Fake dating, it's not on her because it's on Jacqueline Linkwood. You know what I'm saying? It's not on her.
As soon as she wakes up in the morning, she's not that
person. So anything that happened within that person doesn't matter. So if someone killed themselves, it doesn't matter because that's on Jacqueline Linkwood.
Yeah, no, I see that 100%. I was a little unsettled even by the end when she was asking for help. Basically, he was like, you just need to ask for it.
Sure.
And I don't know if I was completely happy with the way Catfish left it as a show when they're walking away after production. Like, this girl, I think, could have used more help than what they... Or what did they really offer her besides showing the story and getting to her? But you can't tell me in 24 hours that, like, she's suddenly changed. She never logs on. She doesn't have those urges anymore. This girl needs to, I would think, speak to someone, and I didn't feel they really set that up for her.
I mean, I agree with that. I think it kind of fell off a little bit. We don't know what happened after the fact, what they didn't air and things of that nature. I think for closure for us, I think we... wanted to see, as an audience, some kind of resolution.
Right. That's right.
Of course, they always do the follow-up. She did say that, I'm not, I'm dating someone now. And,
poor guy. Get out now. Get out now.
Which was only 2 months later, mind you. So, I mean, we see that. But I think it did give her some clarity as far as, like, she's not exempt from the repercussions that can happen as a result of her actions.
Right.
I think regardless, whether she acts on it, she does see now, and I don't think she saw before. Whether she's acting fake or what have you, whatever the situation is.
You think she does? She sees it.
I think she sees it. Whether she acts on it or not.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I think she does see it, because I think the fact that they were drilling into her and telling her about the jail, telling her about losing her job with the kids, which sounds like she really liked, and those things could come away if you continue doing this. You've been lucky.
Yeah.
But your luck can run out.
So her moral compass, you feel, was like lined up a little bit after
in
that.
some regards. I don't think she fully saw the light, but I think there was something there.
Yeah.
2 words. Reunion special.
Yes, please.
That's when it's all. That's when everything's going to come down, and we're going to find out what really happened after the show.
Right.
If she sought help, her view on seeing herself on camera.
That's
the other thing is, like, you mentioned it, or did you say when she goes back in a couple years and she sees this air or something? It's like, hold up, these people know that they're on national television. This is all being recorded in a day and age.
Right.
So I question, like, did she just, after we're Skyping with her 2 months later, like, did she just come to terms and realize, oh crap, that's going to air. How do I clean up my act? And even on a reunion special, it's like, is she just going to tell us what we want to hear? These people are liars. And with my experience in real life, liars are liars are liars.
Yeah.
So I'm like real questioning when any of that comes in. I'm like, I don't know. She still seemed kind of manic on the Skype when she was like, I have a boyfriend, it's 4 months, but I'm kind of calm, but it's great, I'm talking to him about everything.
I think it was Nev that said, or Max that said, they said that she looked a little calmer.
Yeah.
But I think you make a great point.
I hate to be this guy.
No, it's cool, devil's advocate. But if someone that lies a lot, are they going to be cured in 2 months?
Never.
You know what I'm saying? So unless something does, tragically happen that brings them to this epiphany to where they're like, okay, I have to stop.
True.
I have to stop.
Do you guys think her brother knew anything? Because her brother was 17, did they say?
The one that was her?
20.
Yeah.
You think he has any if her mother knew about the profile, I feel like that must be talk in the house. And as someone, I don't think he has a fake profile. I think he would have more knowledge of what that means compared to what the mom would think. Yeah,
sure.
I wonder if he had any idea of it or what.
I don't know. I mean, it's. I mean, we didn't get a chance to talk to him. I think too, if you think about it, I thought it was very interesting because someone who, like her, wants this attention, and her mom was leaving to go to the hospital to take care of the brother. She didn't look like she was worried at all.
Didn't have a care in the world.
Didn't have a care in the world. Didn't care about it, and not that she doesn't love her brother, but
Felesha even cared.
Yeah,
I hope your son gets okay.
The only person.
And on top of that, did you see when Felesha hugged her mom and she was just like,
like
what?
what?
Why are you doing that? Like,
why?
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I think she just doesn't. She's so oblivious and she's so enthralled in her own self that she doesn't see outside of that.
You know what, too? They didn't mention any friends. They didn't mention anybody reaching out to her. So that could be one of the main reasons why she actually made this fake profile.
I could see that 100%. I could see that.
And a lot of times people like that don't have friends.
Yeah.
They don't, or true friends, I should say. Anybody they can really confide in, and that's part of the reason why they do that, because they're thirsty, And
in this day and age, I mean, I'm a part of the generation too, so I'm not trying to be like these kids these days, but like there's so much less like playing in the backyard or like roller hockey on the street or like playing with the neighbors. You go home and you're instantly on the computer and you get absorbed in the computer for hours and hours and hours on end. So there is that less social interaction. So even if she doesn't have friends at school, like she's probably not hanging out with any single person. So it's that much easier. for Jacqueline to consume her life.
Listen, if this girl makes this profile and starts saying really nice things to all these random people, she's not going to get as much attention as she is going to get if she's saying these mean things. And like she said, she even quoted, she's like, good or bad, I like the attention. That's clearly what she was just out looking for.
Right.
I do want to talk about Falesha because we touched upon in the beginning how she's a stand-up person.
Yeah.
She's a stand-up person.
Very compassionate. Very compassionate.
I don't know. I'm a calm, cool, collected person.
Yeah.
But if you're about to use my pictures and say these things and ruin more than a year, more than 6, but like a long time.
Well, it was 2 years that this was going on while she was in school.
I'm not going to politely be like, I'm not going to say it's okay.
Right.
No, I'm probably going to. No, I don't know what I'm going to do. But
For all that, but then to go to her house, confront her, and then for her to be like, I don't like you because you took Jacqueline's friends.
Right.
When she
like,
did
what
absolutely
the
nothing
fuck
to her.
are you talking about?
She did nothing to her.
Like, and she's just sitting there giggling, saying it's the best birthday ever. I'm on MTV. Like, what a birthday!
Oh my God.
Like,
Well, I think, I'm glad you went back to her because I think that she is such a bigger person. And because she's such a bigger person, I think she saw her for what she was. I said, this is a wounded individual who wants
so
attention.
much respect for her.
So I'm just gonna give her my piece. There's no reason to be upset, or because she's not in her right mind. You know what I'm saying? She thinks things are imaginary when it comes to those type of things, and I think she saw that. Even though they're the same age, she's obviously a lot more mature, and she saw that, and basically just was with Nev and Max saying, "Look, this is what you need to do. You need to make sure you stop this because these are going to be your, repercussions and all these kind of things, or this can happen to you." And I think that's where she was with the whole situation.
she was coming in with words of wisdom. Like, I thought she was a guest host.
Right.
Like, she could have been Max.
Sure.
But like, it didn't even realize that like it happened to her.
Right.
She was like, you're numb because of all these things that happened to you. So you hurt other people, but like it's gonna be okay.
Right.
When like she's the one that like needs to be comforted for all the pain that she's been through.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's just because say this all happened as everything was happening in high school, maybe she would have a different reaction. I mean, we are a few years out.
Right.
So
correct.
maybe that's why she was, because I do applaud her for being so level-headed, but I don't know if everything was as it was shown, I would think she'd have more of an emotional response at that moment. But maybe she's had enough time to go through it. And her mom seems like an amazing support system.
Absolutely.
She does.
She was, when they sat, I mean, they clearly had a great connection. I think that's a great demonstration for parents to see if your kid is getting bullied, like, take the stance and just be by their side with it so they don't feel alone.
And speaking of support too, I'm sorry, man. Big shout out to Tori. Tori was the one who went into the bathroom with
we were
her
talking
when
about that earlier.
when she started to cry and everything. Like, I think we all need that one person that definitely has our back, and that was Tori.
Oh, sure.
So,
Well,
big shout out.
And you can see the difference between her family and friend setup
100%.
than Tracy's. And that just, again, is a prime example to see where the two individuals are, you know what I'm saying, in their lives.
And you can only hope that, honestly, like, what Tracy did is inexcusable, but you can only hope that for Tracy, she can figure that out, because this is a person that's going to need to function in our world.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of people like Tracy, which we've said, they're acting out of hurt and pain. So all we can do, instead of label them like they're bad, because it's so easy, that's what I want to do. I'm like, you're crazy, you're bad, ignore you. It's like, no, we need to show them their support. We need to show them how to fix it so that they can develop and just not be bad, but be functioning in a good place.
Because there is help out there.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you're listening, if you're going through a hard time, like, there is help out there. There is a better community out there. Someone else has been going through what you are going through or close to it. MTV, like we talked about earlier, is always very helpful with helping with.
I think it was halfofus.com.
Yeah.
Is that what
Yes.
MTV was?
Yes.
with cyberbullying,
Yeah.
and there's so many resources out there. If you are being cyberbullied, or if you feel alone, or if you are a cyberbully yourself, so definitely, look into those resources and don't take it out on other people, and don't take it out on yourself. Don't feel like a victim. So
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's our show. I think we covered it.
Cool.
I think it was good. I mean, I wish with this program we could have like, and I wish there was like a reunion show that we knew was happening, because then we could, give, what we normally do with our AFTERBUZZ shows, with shows that are recurring.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
I gotta tell you guys, I saw something on actors, like the breakdowns, actors that, so in out in LA they send out a breakdown for any role that is being cast, and it was Catfish was casting reenactments.
Really?
They were looking for certain people from other episodes. So
Interesting.
I don't know if it's ever going to go through or go forwards, but I thought it was really interesting to see that, and I think that's something that we could possibly see in the future.
But what was the breakdown? What do you mean?
It was it was casting, reenactments, and it was looking for 2 characters that had previously been on the show. And it would just describe that actual person.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then I don't know what they're gonna do with that. I can bring in the actual, I can print it out or something. But
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what it.
Because I know of people that have been reached out to see if
they were being
their
catfished.
photos could be used as one of the catfishes. So like I know people that have been reached out to like can I use your picture as Corey as the fake boyfriend because they couldn't get sign off on Corey's photo.
Gotcha.
That's really interesting. I didn't even think of that.
There are people out there like obviously it's TV production, it's reality TV, it's not all going to be real. We haven't quite figured out how they do this, but like some of the like other people aren't necessarily the same other people that we're seeing. Like the face and the name aren't necessarily
That's
accurate.
interesting. I wonder to what extent they cut that off as like, even if say someone writes in Jacqueline, say she typed her story out to them, but then they needed it in a phone call. Was some other person just reading those words as I don't know. I just where my mind goes.
Well, I mean, when you see, I know when I look at when they show like what are supposed to be the text messages that are sent and stuff like that. Like obviously they're actual text messages.
The first couple of seasons, I thought they were.
I was gonna say they were. They really cleaned it up not this season since I've past watch with addresses, last names. Because in the first couple of seasons, I feel like I could find those people on Facebook or whoever they're doing, whatever they're like, even where now they're really specific with like they block out towns or middle names or last names.
Well, and I think
smart.
that's probably probably for permission's sake because if you notice like with Falesha, we got to see where she was from and all this kind of stuff. But with it got to Tracy, we couldn't see her last name. We couldn't see the city she was in. All of those type of things. So I think it all probably case by case basis. What I do like, and I saw in the previous half of the first half of this season, is that some of the fake profiles that are used, they actually reach out to those people and actually talk to them and actually get to the point where they interview them if they get a hold of them and have them send a message to the person that's getting catfished saying like, hey, I'm Johnny, I know you're, my
I've seen that too,
and I think that's cool that they're actually doing that, for the people that are willing to
clarify that. I wonder if they ask everyone that and then they just go off of whether they're going to do it or not. But that is a good way to right your wrongs if in a sense.
Exactly.
I don't know. I do question. I just want to. I wonder if you guys have touched upon it.
Well, I just found Tracy Barbie's Facebook page.
You did?
Yeah.
Actual Tracy Barbie? Same pictures we saw?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's blocked. It's hard to get to, but she is still in a relationship.
Well, I think
breaking news and gossip, everybody. Breaking news.
She's in a relationship.
Wow.
Somebody tell
okay,
TMZ.
this is actually a good example of what I was going to say. It's 2015. If you're in... Don't we all, in a way, do what they do is research?
Right.
Oh, yeah, there she is.
Tracy
Don't we
Barbie.
all do this?
Yeah.
Can't we all run a Google image search?
Thank you.
We talked about that last week.
It kind of baffles me. That's the one thing. That's why I love this episode, because this I was like, okay, I understand it. But the other ones, it's like, no one around them, with the whole catfish thing on MTV said, Google them or like search the photo.
Or
they're
Twitter,
not doing brain
Instagram.
surgery.
No, they're not. It's very simple what they're doing. And when we were talking about this last week, I think when people, and of course they're dealing with a younger generation, these people are teenagers or very, very young adults. And a lot of times when your heart is involved and you actually fall in love with someone, you're very clouded. You see the signs, and which is why you reach out in the first place, because you know something's up. But you don't want to, it's harder for you to do it yourself, because if you find out, then you're going to be devastated.
Okay, so
When you're
ignorance is bliss at that point.
And when you're that young, it's 100%. This would never happen to me.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Sure. Absolutely. So I think that's why the show is what it is. But I do think that we will see more episodes like we saw tonight.
I hope so.
Where it's like the flip and
the new age of catfish, if you will. Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. So yeah, I think that'll be it. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show. We want to thank you for tuning in. I have been your host, Lem Gonsalves. Again, you can find me at The Poet Saint, and that's on Twitter and Instagram. Nicholas, where can they find you, sir?
You guys can find me at Nicholas Grava on Twitter and Instagram.
Twitter and Instagram at Jeff_Thurm. Thanks for tuning in.
Twitter and Instagram at Be Your Own Dad. Catch you guys next week.
Boom.
Deuces.
Just again, make sure you tune in and for another great episode. We'll see you next time.
Stay safe out there.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AFTERBUZZTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AFTERBUZZ TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.